everyone, it's Leo, and it's time to talk about episode 13 from Delicious Party PreCure, which was an episode that brought us lots and lots and lots of new information. I was very curious for this episode, and there is a lot going on, so let's break the informations by topics. Let's start with Amane/Gentlu. Gentlu does not exist anymore. She was purified. The brainwashing wavered. It's not on her anymore. But we don't see Amane in this episode. The girls go visit her. She is sleeping. And I feel like the narrative kind of lacked a little bit more of context to us, the viewers, to understand what's going on in the real world outside of the magical part of everything. Is she sick? Is she tired? What is going on with Amane? We learn in this episode that she's not been attending school. And the girls go visit her, but she was sleeping. So what is really going on with her? I think we're going to get to that later on. And we get to see her brothers. And they are twins. They are super cute. I really liked seeing them. I really liked their personalities. They seem to be very different from each other. And they're voiced by the same person. I was shocked because, I already knew, but, seeing him in action with both characters with such different voices and personalities, loved it. Both of them, they appeared in a very small scene, and since this voice actor is a pop star in Japan, I don't think he will be appearing, or they will be appearing a lot in the episode. So, now that there's no Gentlu, the one that is attacking is Narciso. And I've wondered why they chose Gentlu to be Gentlu, why they chose Amane to be Gentlu. At this moment, Secreturu makes it very clear that her and Narciso are both not human, like they're not from the human world. Where are they from? I have no idea. We're probably going to learn that later on in the series, but it's definitely not going to be now. We're in our early stages still. But it's clear that Gentlu was human and both of them are not. And Narciso specifically said that he chose Gentlu because she knew the area. So that makes sense. It's a person that can see the SCPPs. It's a person that knows Oishina town, so she would be a good choice. But I hope there's more. I hope this is not the sole reason that Gentlu was chosen. I am really begging for more. Please, Delicious, don't disappoint me on this. And we also see Narciso attacking for the first time, and I absolutely love him as a villain. He seems to be, he was at least on the cruel side before. We could see that with Gentlu, but now it feels like he's more on the dorky side. When he was interacting with Rosemary and the girls, it was very funny. I loved that moment. And he says Ore-sama, to talk about himself. Like, he thinks very highly of himself. I'm the amazing Narciso, things like that. And I love the animations, both of his, the way he captures the SCPP and the way he summons the Moto Ubauzo. I absolutely love it. Come on, Moto Ubauzo. I loved that moment so much. It's gorgeous. And so, there is this dorky side to him as well. And obviously, he cannot see the SCPPs, different from Gentlu, but now he has that gadget that he created, that he is able to see the SCPPs with them. He's able to track where the SCPPs are. So that's why he is using that different box. Very interesting one. So, leaving the villain side, let's go to Takumi, which was the star of the episode. So basically, there is Monpei, who is Takumi's father, and his story kind of mimics Rosemary's story, like his arrival. He arrived on Oishina town when he was younger. He was 19, and he was very hungry, just like Rosemary. And he found An, who is Takumi's mom. And An has that inn, and she took him in. He was able to cook something for him, so he was not hungry anymore, and they ended up falling in love with each other. So it was clear that Monpei was from Cookingdom, and he came to Earth. In the first episode, we see clearly why Rosemary was taken to Earth, why Rosemary was taken that mission. Monpei's case, we don't really know why he was arriving to Earth. But there is a very different case in both of them. When Monpei arrived, he was wearing like that black cape. And when Rosemary arrived, they were already wearing that costume. I don't know how to call that night costume. Rosemary was already wearing that type of costume. And Monpei was not. And when we get to present time, obviously, Monpei and An got together. They fell in love and they probably married. And that's where Takumi enters. Takumi is their son. And Takumi finds the one delicious stone that he has in his bedroom 1 year ago, 1 year prior to the start of Delicious Party. And there isn't this difference between Monpei and Rosemary is clear because Rosemary is able to use the delicious stone and Monpei doesn't seem to be. He was holding on to that delicious stone and he tells Takumi that only a worthy person is able to use the stone. And it seems that he wasn't because he didn't really seem how to use it because he didn't know how to use it. And he tells Takumi and he gives the stone to Takumi and says the stone chose you because when Takumi touched it, it started glowing, it started shining. And Monpei, I'm sorry, but Takumi is the chosen one of the stone. And so Takumi is the one that gets the stone and takes it with him and saves it with him. And his dad is very clear on saying, use it when you have the certainty that you have to use it. Be careful when using this stone. And so that's why Takumi still hasn't used it in the show, probably. But then we have this scenario in which we learn An's story, which was very sweet. I love Takumi's mom. She is so full of energy. She has so much personality. And I really like this way that she interacts with her loved one. She's always showing her love. She is not shy at all about it. So that is very, very nice. And we also see a little bit of Yui's mom too, and we get to see both dads. Takumi's dad and Yui's dad. Yui's dad is very handsome, baby, and Takumi's dad has a very funny hair. His hairdo is really weird, but in a good way, I think. And I really like both of their dads' design, but Yui's dad, girl, he's handsome. I like it. And talking about Yui, Yui is so dense. This episode made it very clear that Takumi loves her. Takumi's in love with Yui. And even Takumi's dad mentions it. And Takumi, Yui does not notice this at all. But, it's the destiny of the magical girls. And maybe the magical boys too. Let's see where this will lead us. And Takumi was wary of Rosemary. Takumi was thinking that Rosemary was making Yui fight against monsters, so he was always on the lookout. And then he goes to where Narcissoru was and that whole thing. There's another difference between Narcissoru and Gentlu that I forgot to mention, which is when Narcissoru attacks and takes the recipes, he also takes away the feelings that you have towards that specific food. And obviously feelings towards food is something very important. And so this is another big thing that Narcissoru has, another big impact that Narcissoru has. So Takumi was thinking that Yui was being forced by Rosemary to fight. But then when he sees what's really going on, he remembers what happened when both of them were very young kids, and he probably did something to Yui that hurt her, and she started crying, and her grandmother gave her the onigiri, and she gave the onigiri to Takumi too. Yui said that Takumi has to say delicious smile, but he didn't want to say it. And so he understands that Yui is fighting on her own will when she was saying, what Narcissoru is doing is wrong. Food is smiles. And so she was fighting for food because she's not only fighting for people to eat things, she is fighting for people to have feelings and emotions created by food. And that is very important too. Food is a way of bringing people together, of bringing families and friends and loved ones together for sure. I love this philosophy. So we get to the fighting scene. The fighting scene, I did not like it at all, but it had a very important meaning. It had a very important something, which was Rosemary created the delicious field, and Takumi got in with his delicious stone, and he was basically watching the whole thing. And the girls were having a little bit of a hard time because the Moto Ubazo is a little stronger, and something hit one of the stones and fell upon the Moto Ubazo, and the girls were able to defeat it. They were only able to defeat it because of this external influence in the fight, and they wondered what that was after the fight was over. And we know that it was Takumi, but it was really weird. Like when Dan was saying, "Oh, we got really lucky." Like, girl, that's so unlike Dan. And I don't know, I just felt a little weird, a little strange about that scene. But at least, like, in general, they seemed concerned about what was helping them and what was going on outside of their field of vision. And we know that it's Takumi. And when Takumi understands that Yui is the one that is fighting, and she is the one that is fighting of her own will, he decides that he's going to help her. And then we are able to see the coat of his mysterious warrior side in the room. So I was wondering, like, I thought that he transformed into his magical self, but it doesn't seem like it. He's probably gonna wear the costume and jump into the fray, because next episode we are finally gonna see Takumi Mask, or his real name, Black Pepper. I'm very curious. Finally, episode 14 is gonna be his official kind of debut, because in this episode, let's not call it a debut, girl, because that was really not. We just saw glimpses of him there in the field with Yui. So I feel like this episode opens up lots of possibilities for the future of Delicious Party. I wonder when Amane will come back to the story, if she's gonna come back in this batch of episodes from June. She is nowhere to be seen in the titles, but maybe she will appear, maybe she will be part of the dynamic of the episodes somehow. We know that next episode is Takumi centered again, and I'm curious, I'm curious to see more of Takumi, because I feel like so far he's kind of a one-note type of character. His role in the story is basically to be the friend, the childhood friend of the main character that is also in love with her. So I really want to see more parts of his personality. And I feel like the downside of this episode was that we basically saw nothing of Kokone and Ran. Like, they disappeared completely, and I did not like that at all. I hope they're able to integrate them more into the next episodes, even if they're Takumi centered, Yui centered, or centered on something else, because so far in the first 12 episodes I think that they did it brilliantly. Every time they had to, like, they were not the focus, they were still able to shine somehow. And I really hope that they're able to do that more in the future. Anyways, this is my view on episode 13 of Delicious Party PreCure. Are you excited for 14? I know lots of people are, for sure. Anyways, babies, this is all for now. Taking this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinema channel. If you are a member, thank you very, very much for your support. And if you've watched up to now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.